Hello and welcome everyone to part 4 of Piedra del Sol mini. I'm Jonathan Dykes. I'm never going to get it. Doesn't matter. It's the last day. I don't have to get it after this. So I'm Jonathan Dykes. With me tonight in the commentator booth, we have Jessica Martin and Daniel Fletcher. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Excited to be here.
Yeah, doing well.
Yeah, it's been a crazy mini up to now. We have 6 players left vying for the title of Ultimate Explorer in our 1-year anniversary mini, and it has been an absolute blast to this point. Not so much for Keith, as we saw at the end of our part 3, as he went out probably in the worst way possible. Hey, Daniel?
That was brutal. And the worst part was seeing the dawning recognition on his face as he was putting the pieces together, keeping track of who was exempt and realizing that he was the one left. It's a brutal way to go out because it's really not his fault at all.
Yeah, especially when you're in a good position, you have a solid alliance and you're on the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, him and Denise seem to be right in the spot that they wanted to be in the middle of both sides there, but one compass Garrett walks out, one compass drops another one, and then another one, and like Daniel said, Keith is left with his head spinning in the middle there, not knowing what just happened to him. So going into this episode here, we're definitely looking at a potential split situation, as a 3-3 has kind of emerged here, hasn't it, Jess?
Yeah, I just forgot who was on which side.
We got Denise.
We got there.
Denise, Katie, Ryan.
Yeah, we've got the 3-3. We've got Denise, Katie, and Ryan, and then Bill, Trey, and Garrett on the other side. But Denise has ties with Trey too, so it'll be interesting to see if she'll sway over it all, if she wants to mix it up.
Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. Looking like Denise is kind of right stab in the middle. Some big decisions coming her way, aren't there?
Yeah, I think for her and Trey, they're in exactly the position you'd want to be in this game because they're the ones that really seem to have ties to one side or the other. Assuming they don't want to go to rocks, Denise and Trey can just get together and figure out which side they'd want to go with. And it seems a lot less likely that the other 4 would get together to go against the 2 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how this plays out. Now, things are going to look a little different than they usually do, unfortunately, due to some tech issues. We're actually going to have the players tell this story a little bit confessional style. So we'll come back after the vote reads.
But here we are, final 6, and poor Keith. Poor Keith.
Okay, wow. We get back to the shelter, and there's a whole lot of WTF and OMG about Keith's departure.
We took a break right after that advantage get-in Crossroads. And I'm glad we did. I think when something like that happens, it sets like people's radar goes off. It's like, oh my God, all these people had advantages. So I think the break gave people time to forget that whatever happened, which I'm super grateful for. Oh, we did a tower stacking challenge where we kind of throw coins at the tower. We stack the tower and we toss coins. I thought I was going to do really well at this because last time we did a challenge like this, I was killing it. But sometimes you just get unlucky. You hit the middle one and one of the other ones on the side doesn't move. Super frustrating.
So it comes down to me and Katie. And I ended up winning. So that was exciting. Super exciting. I was not expecting to win that one. So I'm feeling great right now at this point. So I can't go home, so I'm good. I didn't exactly think that I was next on the chopping block anyways. So, but either way, I was just happy to win one. So we go back, and at this point, I'm thinking that either I want to get Ryan out so that way I can have Katie as my number one, and I don't have to worry about Katie and Ryan being too close anymore, because I know that they're a tighter connection, or at least I feel like they're getting tighter. So, or I need to get Garrett out, because Garrett, I know at this point that Garrett has me tied up. Sorry, he's like tied with Katie and Ryan, and he doesn't feel like I'm going to leave that, obviously.
And I really would have liked to have won this exemption challenge that I lost by that much, so that's really irritating. But Denise is safe, which is fine. She's not my target. So the plan is to vote for Garrett, and maybe Trey and Bill will vote for Garrett, but I don't know.
I know that Garrett is eventually going to come for me if he's not already trying to come for me.
So I voted out Jay, and then Garrett pulled me aside and was like, dude, like, we're not going to win this game if you keep doing this. Essentially. He's essentially drilling into my head, dog, like, we got to be taking out Denise right now. Like, I know you trust her. You got to take her out right now. I think Denise has my best interests in heart, and I appreciate Garrett's effort to be like, she doesn't, but I think that's because that's his truth and not mine. I think Denise is going to look out for me later.
I talked to Trey, and I know that Ryan has a deal of vote, and I know that if we go to Crossroads, that it could potentially be a tie. It could be a 3-3 split.
Alright, so I was kind of whiling during this vote, mainly because I kind of didn't really know what my options were. So at the top I had Denise, and her clear number ones were Katie and Trey. And she also technically had me to an extent, but it was more that she was like dragging me along, and I was like her plan B, C, D, whatever it was. I was not her final three. And I knew that, and that's fine. And so then off of that, Trey also had Bill, and to an extent I also had Bill because I gave him a half idol. And then I also had a connection with Trey because we played the game entirely together, so we had no reason to kind of backstab each other. We were already on the same page. So those were what I had going into this. So my whole goal was to try to make sure that I could maybe get rid of Katie, because if I got rid of Katie, then that means that Denise's next number one would have to be me, and it leaves me a lot more options on the board.
Garrett's the loudest with trying to target me, so that's why he's my target. You know, I don't know why. I would have worked with Garrett if he gave me a chance, but he didn't, and that's fine.
And the whole time that we were doing this, I was so kind of confused at what Ryan's play was. But apparently, while Denise had Katie the whole time, Katie also had Ryan. It was hard to figure out what Ryan was doing. I thought he was just along for the ride, trying to avoid getting voted out each time. But it turns out he had Katie, and that really threw me off the entire game. I could not figure out what his gameplay was.
So we got the final six, and basically it was pitched by Garrett and Bill, you know, vote Katie out. Like, vote for her, save yourself, and I didn't want to. I just used the compass on her. I know I had her trust in the game, and I didn't think that was good for my game.
So then, once we got to talking to people, I went to Ryan to try to pitch Katie, and he was like, yeah, and everything, and he just kind of agreed to whatever I said, and so I was like, I don't know if I trust this plan that much. So, but I guess that's my only option at this point.
We're at final six. That's who I'm hoping. I'm still good with Denise and Ryan, but now we're down to 6, and that's a problem. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
My target and Katie's target that we talked about was voting out Garrett.
Garrett and I get into a room, and I tell him rocks, and he tells me rocks. So off we go. And we kind of got Trey on board, I think, at this time. I was feeling pretty good about it. we start selling rocks to people or threatening them with rocks. Talk a little bit to Ryan about coming over and avoiding rocks, because we also let him know that Katie is probably the vote, which is the only name I've heard the whole time.
Then I start talking to Bill, and Bill's like, nah, dude, it's going to be you, me, and Trey, and we're going to vote out Ryan. And I was like, and we're going to go to rocks for you. And I was like, wow, I like this play a lot more, way more confident. Don't know why you're going to rocks for me, but I will take it. And so that was the play I was going to go for. The problem was they're voting for Ryan. And the way I was thinking, I was like, why are we doing Ryan? He's like the least connected person left in this game. Like, why would we go for him? And so I said to Bill, like, we got to do Katie, man. Like, get this lady out of here. And Bill's like, all right, I guess. And so we switch it to Katie. And then the last conversation I have is with Denise. And my conversation with Denise was pretty much like, well, I guess we're sitting ducks here. Both of you and I are threats. So once they take me out, you're next, kind of thing. Because they don't want to sit with people that have such big targets as us. And I truly did believe that. I thought I had one of the bigger targets based on my reputation. I thought Denise did based on her reputation. And so that was my play, to hopefully say, like, these people will work with you to an extent. I'm the only one that's willing to sit with you at this point. And that was kind of true, kind of not really, because
off we go to Crossroads. It all comes out in the beginning that it looks like it'll be Vegas, baby. But, and Ryan keeps telling us it's not a wise move to go to rocks, which is fine. But I call him out and say, Ryan, what do you want to do? Instead of coming up with a plan, Ryan uses his steal a vote on Garrett. So now I'm getting confused and I'm thinking we're in trouble.
We get to the crossroads. Garrett likes to talk. He likes to hear his own voice, so it's fine. I talk a lot too.
I really thought anyways the vote was going to go on her, so I didn't want to use my steal a vote just yet. But Katie kind of talked me into using the steal a vote.
And I'm all sorts of turned around because I said like a bunch of names. And I don't really remember which play is actually the right play to do. So at the very beginning, I just going to say this right now. I'm down to go to rocks. We want to make it 3 right now. Let's do it. I know I'm getting the votes. And let's just go for it. And Anthony's like, you want to elaborate on this? And I was like, no, because I actually don't know who wants to work with me right now. I completely got turned around, and I have no idea. And so I was like, I'm going to keep it open-ended. And then Bill says, I think it's very clear that the split is me, Trey, and Garrett against the other 3. And I was like, now it is, Bill. Now that's very clear to me, because I was definitely not on the same page. I was kind of thrown off, and I was afraid because I threw too many options that it would just end on me eventually. So thankfully Bill stepped up and made a clear plan for the 3-3 vote. And I was like, okay, let's not say the name right now, so that way we have a chance at maybe not getting the idol played. But what really changed everything was when Ryan stole my vote, because once he stole my vote, it's a 4-2 vote, and I'm screwed.
They all want to threaten rocks. I'm not down with that. I was not down with that. I combated that. I spoke against that. Because I knew if they're going to go for rocks, they're not going to vote for me to make sure I'm vulnerable. And I know Ryan has an extra vote. No, he has a steal a vote. He has a steal a vote, which would give us 4 votes as long as Denise votes with us, which we think she's going to do.
So my last Hail Mary pitch, let's just throw it all out there. If Denise votes with me, then on the revote we win based off of how the steal vote works. So if I can get Denise to vote with me, then we're good. But Denise, we didn't tell her name. So I'm like, let's throw out Ryan. So I switched the vote last second because I know there's no way in hell that Denise is going to vote Katie. There's no reason for her to vote Katie, and that's not the type of player she is.
Garrett, at the last minute, says, Ryan's the target, right? After the only thing we talked about is Katie, and at the beginning of up until now at Crossroads, Katie seems to have been the only name that's out. And so I think it's a ruse, just in case Ryan also still has an idol in his pocket, or Katie does, to get them to play it on him.
And here at Crossroads, we find out who will be taking home the 6th place spot for Expedition Piedra del Sol. Ryan has chosen to steal a vote, and he is stealing Garrett's vote. I'll read the votes. First vote is for Garrett. Second vote is for Ryan. Third vote is for Katie. That's 1 vote Garrett, 1 vote Ryan, 1 vote Katie. Fourth vote is for Garrett. That's 2 votes Garrett, 1 vote Ryan, 1 vote Katie. Fifth vote is for Ryan. That's 2 votes Garrett, 2 votes Ryan, 1 vote Katie. Final vote. And our 6th place explorer is Garrett.
So, I think I'll vote Ryan. I'll vote Ryan. Ryan also told me he has a steal a vote advantage, which is like, Jesus Christ, man. What are you doing? Steal a vote? Then we flushed all of those things. Then we got all those out of here. Dang. Whatever.
So I decide at this point to put down Ryan's name, make it a tie, and then go to a revote and vote Ryan out. That way I can keep Katie as my number 2.
The last thing I did was to switch it to Ryan. I should have made it more clear that I'm definitely switching it to Ryan. There's no shenanigans here. Bill, please, please just listen to what I'm saying. Unfortunately, my boy Bill, definitely read what I was saying wrong, thought I was trying to be tricky, making a smoke screen, but Bill, I needed every vote to go my way, and I couldn't be making tricks and anything like that. I just had to go for the Hail Mary play. So Bill, unfortunately, votes for Katie. Denise and Trey vote for Ryan, and then Ryan and Katie, and Ryan's stolen vote for me, votes for me, and votes me out. And in a 3-2-1, I'm taken out of the game.
I, like a dork, think that Katie is still the vote because it's a ruse. So my friend Garrett goes out 3-2-1. At this stage, I'm pretty sure my game is pretty close to shot. Because it seems to be now it's Trey and I against the world, and I really was confused about the votes, so it didn't dawn on me till later that Denise had voted with us. So my bad, shot myself in the foot. Off we go, see if I can survive again.
I voted for Garrett twice, and she voted for Garrett twice. I got 2 votes, and Katie got only 1 vote. So it's a good thing I actually used it, because I believe if I didn't, I would have gone home at that point.
So that was weird. Ryan steals Garrett's vote. You're not supposed to steal the vote of the person we're voting for. But nothing I can do about it. That's his vote, his decision, and that's what he does. So I vote for Garrett because that was the plan. Ryan votes for Garrett twice. That was the plan. And then the other 3 are a 2-1 on Ryan and me. Who voted for me? My gut tells me it's Denise, and I don't understand why.
But now I need to be careful because now that I've put Ryan's name down, if Ryan finds out, then I feel like Ryan and Katie may turn on, not trust me and turn on me and kind of come for me next.
Overall, I thought I played as well as I could have. I had some options. I ended up going aggressive to make sure I was getting options to get to the final 3 because that was my only kind of play. I just can't bank on winning out in these games. And in the end, Bill, who helped me get my first win, also helped me lose this mini, which I find is ironic. That being said, good luck with the final 5. I think you have a tough road ahead of you and a lot of hard arguments to make, and I look forward to seeing how this plays out.
Okay, so what a crazy round that was. I mean, we saw Denise picks up her first exemption win in the tower stacking penny toss. Came down to her and Katie. Quite a battle there, wasn't it, Anthony?
Yeah, what I love about these head-to-heads is that it kind of really shows you who is out for who. And I think that really exposes a lot about the game, particularly in this game where it feels like, I don't want to say people are being cagey, but I feel like I could never really get a real grip, even as the host, on who was aligning where. So this kind of thing really exposes that and makes the story a lot more clear for us.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to pick their next partner, so they were kind of picking who would go up, and essentially one of those people would be eliminated from the competition, doesn't have a chance. Denise didn't get picked all the way up until the end in that, which I think was very telling considering the situation that she's going into this Crossroads. Picks up the exemption, so it's an interesting Crossroads because with all the advantages that were dropped, we only had one advantage that was saved throughout that. Ryan with a steal a vote, which is really going to come in handy later on here. So just kind of, I mean, the players just built the situation for us, but Garrett, Daniel, we've had kind of Trey and Bill been working together pretty much the entire game. You've got Katie and Ryan who have been working together pretty much the entire game to this point, and then you got Denise right bam in the middle, just like she was at the last Crossroads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Anthony's point is perfect about looking at those dynamics during the challenge, because it just showed everybody wanted to work with Denise. It was almost like this interesting competition to subtly tell Denise they wanted her favor, and then A, it just shows how good a position she's in socially, and then B, it wins her exemption too. It doesn't win it for her, but puts her in this great position which she takes advantage. So I'm really impressed with her game so far, especially because she's still sort of hiding behind this Trey-sized shield right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Trey's been dominating in these competitions and definitely putting a target on his head. But, he's at this Crossroads. He was available for votes, but Denise stays loyal. It was really interesting the way that this Crossroads went down, because plans started to come out right up front, right in the middle of it, didn't it, Anthony?
Okay, so this was a really interesting one because reading the votes, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really understand what happened. I understood that Ryan used to steal a vote, and in doing so basically saved himself, right?
Yeah.
He cast 2 votes for Garrett, along with Katie, who cast her vote for Garrett. Denise and Trey voted for Ryan. Garrett probably would have voted for Ryan. Like I said, Ryan, the steal a vote saves him. We have this weird vote by Bill, who votes for Katie. Mm-hmm. And I the time was like, what? And in this position, you got to keep as much of a poker face as you possibly can. Yeah. But it did take, I remember asking Bill, long after everything was over, what was that? And he basically was like, I don't know, I messed something up, oopsie. And that was the story with that.
Yeah, I mean, Jess, we did kind of see that the plan going into Crossroads for Bill, Trey, and Garrett was to vote for Katie. But they were worried that Denise wasn't going to vote for Katie, so Garrett kind of pulled an audible right in the middle of Crossroads, didn't he?
Yeah, before Crossroads, I knew Garrett was worried that he was getting targeted. His name was out everywhere, and he had his sights set on Katie for a while, but Ryan was the bigger threat of the two of them. Mm-hmm. I think he was a little more active and had more on his resume than Katie. So, yeah, he pulled a live one, went for it, but poor Bill thought it was a trick to throw them off the scent if they had advantages, which Ryan did, but...
Yeah, Bill...
they were so close.
Bill, unfortunately, thought Garrett was playing the 4D chess, but really, Garrett was just trying to bring it down to checkers and just wanted the plan to go through. And, an odd 3-2-1 vote. Garrett, unfortunately, deserted in the mess, and really takes us into a wild situation now, where now Denise has just turned on Katie and Ryan, who she had been playing with pretty much the whole game, went against them for the vote, so they don't really know if they can trust her. You still have Trey and Bill who are working together. They've kind of been a pair. So as much as Katie and Ryan don't know if they can trust Denise, Daniel, not really much places to turn at this point when you're up against another pair, is there?
Yeah, by final 5, it doesn't really matter whether you think you can trust somebody, because, like, what else are you going to do, right? You either trust this person and they turn on you and you maybe go home, or you just don't trust them and you go home anyway. So I think you have to just take your chances with the one option that's in front of you.
Yeah, for sure. It's really going to be interesting to see how this round plays out. Let's turn things over to the players, tell you how it all went down.
After that final 6 Crossroads, I think it was pretty apparent that it was just me and Katie together, and I still had a slight hope that either Denise or Trey were on my side and were willing to work with me.
So it's final 5, and I am still here. Off we go to the challenge, and it is some sort of sucking up water into a straw, spitting it into a measuring cup. God knows. I have been competitive in a lot of challenges, even though I haven't won one, but I completely suck at this one.
I have long legs. I am 6 feet tall. My legs are probably longer than that. I can get into a pretty deep lunge, I will say. So, so what I did was, instead of running, because that's like, wow, that's gonna take a lot of time. I just sort of like lunged and did like a little U with my body between the cups, and it was a blowout. That was wild. Yeah,
So going to that exemption challenge, I knew it was do or die. I went balls to the wall on that challenge. I thought I had it. I was going as hard as I could, but unfortunately Trey won that.
Went at 6, now we're at 5, and I have Ryan, who I fully trust and know is with me. He just saved me. I thought we had Denise, but I'm not feeling so great about her anymore. Why didn't she vote Garrett with us? Like, I never even really got a chance to ask her, which is super frustrating. And I don't know. So I'm definitely working with Ryan. But now are we 2 to 3? Like, what happened? So this kind of sucks. Trey won exemption, of course, so we can't vote Trey out, which is not great. Kind of think we should have voted Trey out last round, but, you know, you have 5 seconds to make a decision in this game, so you don't always make the right one.
So at final 5, the challenge beast is back, baby. I think this is the 5th challenge I've won, individual challenge I've won this mini, and by God, look. When I started doing these, I did not think I was as capable as I was for these challenges, but if this mini and the last mini is anything to prove it, your boy's got skills, man. I didn't even realize that. That's so awesome.
So, Trey wins, off to the races. I do know that if Ryan and Katie are definitely gunning for one of us now it's me. So once again, it's all up to Denise. I haven't had a chance to get into a room with Denise for a little bit. And I know Trey has been working a lot with Denise and sort of being the intermediary between us. So he thinks things look okay. I've got to rely on him.
I don't know. I'm like really sus of Denise now. Kind of want to target her. And that's kind of what I've told some people. And when I brought it up to Ryan, he says Denise and Trey are close. And I was like, how did I miss that? And how do you get close in 2 seconds in this game? And how did I miss that? And then I realized that Denise and I never have any time to talk to each other. Every time I want to talk to her, she's always talking to someone either in a one-on-one situation or she's talking to the person I want to target.
I jumped back into shelter and it was just Ryan there. And I asked Ryan who he was voting for because I had wind that they were saying my name. So I asked him if it was me, just flat out said, so I guess you guys are saying my name, huh? And he said no. So I was like, I don't know, like, why lie at this point? But that's okay. But I was like, I don't know, like, I didn't know if I could trust that. So Katie jumps in right after I'd asked that question, and I decided just to throw it out there and ask Katie. And I said, well, Katie, I guess, like, you know, I was just asking Ryan, like, I figure it's my name you guys are throwing out there. And she said, yeah, it was. So I was like, okay. So obviously, yeah, so Ryan lied. Katie kind of apologized and said, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna vote Bill out. And I was like, well, now what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to believe that you guys aren't going to write my name down? And then what, I go in and I write Bill's name down and then I'm the one that goes home. And so I kind of like put a spin on it that way. So instead of making myself look too bad about voting out Ryan, now I'm voting out Ryan because, because he lied to me and they were gunning after me. So Katie asked me to trust her and vote out Bill.
The only thing I have to do is convince Denise to vote out Ryan. I think I could pitch it to her by being like, look, I've met you in the middle by voting out my allies this entire game, that like since I've been with you. I need you to meet me at Final Five. Like, I need you to meet me here and really sell her on this.
Ryan and I talked to Denise and said, let's just go Bill. That's what we should vote. We should all vote Bill, and then we're gonna not have a lot of time to convince her that we're down for Bill because she's heard her name. Because of course I have a big mouth that came back to bite me, because you gotta think quick in these games when there is no time.
Bill, my right-hand man, amazing guy. Love that guy. Bill has been catching heat, man. Bill has been catching votes like no one I've ever seen. Every Crossroads, he's catching votes, and I'm just trying to keep him to the end. I wanted to go with the end. I wanted to go to the end with him for like since I heard he was still in the game after he was the first person voted out. So I'm really hoping Denise can vote Ryan here. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be close, and it's gonna be a decision. But dang, let's go! Come on, let's bring it. Well, I'm not going. I'm fine, but I need that. I need that to get to the end.
The last message I had, or group chat I had, was with myself, Katie, and Denise saying, let's all vote Bill. Let's all vote together for Bill. And even during Crossroads, Katie and I were like, we're sticking with what we told you. And I was really, really hoping that Denise was going to follow through with that.
So my goal going into Crossroads is to vote for Bill. Shouldn't have targeted Denise because I don't think the votes are there anyway. So here we are. So we go to Crossroads. Right before Crossroads, Ryan and I both told Denise, Bill, on my word. And I know that I meant it, and I know that Ryan meant it. And then there's lots of things flying around in Crossroads of who's, working with who and who the targets are. And
off we go to Crossroads. And somehow or another, Trey and I had decided on Ryan. May well be Trey told me to do that name. And he's definitely the biggest competitor among the three of us. So fingers crossed, off to Crossroads.
I even pitched a little bit about how I thought it'd be easy to beat at the end. I was getting votes every round. I wasn't exempt. I forgot what else I told people, but I was just throwing it out there, like, don't vote for me, keep me in the game, you can beat me at the end, which I didn't think was the case. I actually thought I had a strong case at the end, but I needed to throw out everything I had.
I kind of went in there wanting to go with Katie because I don't want to break the trust with Katie because, again, I was working with Katie and I want to keep that bond with me and Katie, but at the same time, I need to do it best for my game at this point. And we're getting close to the end. And so I need to do what's better for me. So we go into the Crossroads, and I thought about it during the Crossroads, and I listened to what everyone was saying. Things came out about who people were voting for. It was weird, but it was what it was.
And here we are back at Crossroads, where we will find out who will be taking that 5th place spot. Nobody has used any hidden advantage, so I'll go ahead and read the votes. First vote is for Ryan. Second vote is for Bill. Third vote is for Ryan. Fourth vote is for Bill. That's 2 votes Ryan, 2 votes Bill, 1 vote left. Last vote, and the person leaving us in 5th place is Ryan.
Lo and behold, Ryan goes out 3-2. Denise is with us again. So I adored her before. I adore her even more now. And I'm off to Final Four. I smell a fire-making challenge in our future, and so that doesn't make me happy. But I'm there. We'll play. We'll see what happens.
Not feeling good about my position of getting in much further. So, super bummed that Ryan went, obviously. I wanted to go to the end with Ryan, and I do feel a little responsible for throwing Denise's name out, and then for some reason it ended up being the target being Ryan. I don't know why everyone's not targeting me all of a sudden, so it just means my biggest fear of always. People just see me as beatable and not playing, so it's whatever. Story of my life. We shall see what happens with the next challenge.
And really, really hope that Denise was going to stick with the vote for Bill. Unfortunately, looked like I was the bigger threat between Katie and myself, and I got 3 votes to go home. So, it's pretty sad. I was really looking forward to getting to Final Four. I knew what that challenge was going to be. I Googled it, I looked it up, and I would have killed the fire-making challenge. I probably would have taken it myself and took on Trey because I thought he was the biggest threat to win the game at the end. So, that.
All right, there you have it. I mean, another crazy round, as pretty much every round in this whole entire mini has been. It doesn't slow down near the end here. Trey picks up exemption. I really needed it at this point, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Trey is a beast, and if he doesn't have exemption, he's going to be on the chopping block for sure.
Yeah, I almost think hands down. I mean, he was working pretty tight with Denise at this point, but even she had to see 5 exemption wins. It's hard to argue against at a final exemption, a final ascent there. And Daniel, I mean, we're still sitting there, and it kind of plays out the way that we thought, with Denise kind of sitting in the middle of these two pairs.
Yeah, and this has got to be Ryan's worst nightmare at this point, because I'm sure what he was banking on was being able to say, like, hey, look, Trey's this massive threat, let's vote him out. And then all of a sudden, that's not there. He played his steal a vote the last time. He played his compass the previous time. So all of a sudden, he's finally sitting there without exemption, without an advantage, and he's just sort of exposed at this Crossroads.
Yeah, and Anthony, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to separate him and Katie at that point, but like Daniel just pointed out, sometimes having those extra points on your resume, as much as you need them and want them to get to the end, they really kind of hurt you in a situation like this when one of your pair has to go home.
You know, the interesting thing is that you mentioned Denise a lot, who is a social genius. Like, flat out, we've seen her play before. She gets over and over again to the, far deep into these games. And nobody seems like she's the queen of under the radar, right? And then you have Trey, who's played with finesse. He got himself through a swap where the numbers were against him. He got himself through a whole lot of challenges where he rose to the occasion. Ryan, I don't think, played with much finesse, and yet still seemed to pivot and get through when he needed. But I'm going to give Daniel credit for this one, as he said earlier when we were off the air. The well just ran dry for him, and I think there was just nowhere to run or hide, and that was kind of Ryan's story, unfortunately.
No, I agree with that. I mean, as great of a game that Bill has been playing socially. I mean, he hasn't been doing very well in the comps, and compared to the other players, when you're looking at it from Denise's point of view, Jess, between Ryan, Katie, and Bill, I mean, Ryan does kind of stand out a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a little bit more on his resume than the other two do right now. It was the smartest move right now. Mm-hmm. He just was the next biggest comp beast, and just another person that stands in the way of winning that big final challenge at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately for Ryan, another deep run in one of our games here, but not able to get it to that final step. So goes out here in 5th place. Great game from him, and really sets up a wild Final Four here. We still have another twist left. I'm going to leave it to the players to tell this story. We'll come back and break it all down for you after.
So now it's me and Katie, and I've got Trey, which I know Trey's close with Bill, so there's a possibility I have to be careful with that because obviously I know that Bill will take him and he'll take Bill. And I don't know at this point if it's going to be a 2 or a 3 in the finals.
I was being careful. I was taking notes. I was being very aware of the happenings, writing down just random stuff. But they said weekend in review, and I don't know what happened.
I finally won an exemption challenge, the most important one. So I guess I get to go to the end. That's terrifying.
Holy cannoli. From voted second out of the game to Final Four. Do I have a Natalie story in me? We shall see.
And Katie won. Dang. Dang.
But we go to the challenge, and worst possible outcome for me probably is that Katie wins. Congratulations, Katie. It just sucked for me. So, Katie goes into a room. We all go off and make our pitch.
Katie takes it, which is amazing. So I'm super stoked at this point. And then we find out that Katie, it's going to be a final 3. And that Katie gets to choose the one person that goes with her, and the other 2 have to do a fire making challenge. We go back and we have, I think, 10 minutes to plead our cases to Katie on who Katie's going to bring and who's going to do the fire making challenge. So as soon as we get back, I immediately jumped and I asked to talk to Katie first. to make sure that me and Katie were still good and that we were still on the same page. Katie pretty much told me that she was going to take me, but she said that she did want to.
Everyone wanted me out, and I had a hand in almost everyone on the jury. So now I'm stuck with this hard decision of who to take and who to send to a fire-making challenge. And I have like 6 minutes to make a decision. So that's fun. That's fun. Everyone's gonna plead their case to me.
You know, I made my pitch to her and said, you know, I stayed with you, and I was never gunning for Katie throughout this whole game. I wanted to take Katie to the end, and that was always my plan out of the three, me, Keith, and Katie. And then once Ryan came in, my plan and hope was always that me and Katie made it to the end together. So I told Katie that, and I told Katie, you know, made my pitch as much as I could, why I thought the two of us should be in the end together. And yeah, she pretty much told me that it will most likely be me, but of course we'll see what the pitches are, and then she'll make up her decision from there. So obviously it was scary.
And Denise was the first to plead her case to me. I felt guilty about trying to target her, and we were together from day one, and I was excited to see her and play with her. So
mine is purely that I'm the GOAT. Am I the GOAT? I don't know. But you've got Trey, you've got Denise. Trey is the challenge beast. He's incredibly personable. He's played a very good strategic game. Denise, good in challenges. I adore Denise to death. And, you know, she has probably been playing sort of a work both sides strategy that people haven't caught on to, or at least held her against her. Neither of them have a single vote. So Katie's best chance is to take me. And then we both work on sort of trying to pull the jury to one of us, as opposed to whichever one of Trey and Denise she takes with.
Bill tried to play up that he's a GOAT and nobody likes him. Bill, please. You're not a GOAT. You're a freaking phenomenal player. Everybody does like you. And you know how to talk. So wouldn't be the worst decision to bring Bill, but I don't feel good about that.
Oh, my pitch to Katie is simple. My pitch to Katie is, look, you and Denise have played a very similar game. Like practically if there was two parallel lines, it'd be one line. You need to not take Denise and take me. This, you know, so I was saying this pitch, and I was like, I hope Katie isn't like, so Trey wants Denise gone because he thinks Denise is gonna win. Denise wants Trey gone because she thinks Trey is gonna win. Why don't we just pin them against each other? I kind of hope that happens. Like, not gonna lie, that'd be pretty hype if that were to happen.
Trey's argument. Denise and I played too similar of games, then we shouldn't sit next to each other because we're gonna split votes. Fair point. Trey won like 800 exemption challenges. He knows how to talk to people. He's extremely likable. Not my best person to sit next to.
Luckily, It's a fire making. Katie and Denise have been playing together for the whole game, and to the point where it's like it's a no-brainer that Katie is going to bring Denise. So,
and I already went in knowing I was just going to take Denise. I'm going to go with my loyal to a fault situation and bring her to the end, and I know she's probably going to beat me, but I just need to, I felt gross after trying to target her. But ultimately, I made my decision. I took Denise to the end because that's how I play.
I was super excited when she said my name. So I'm in the final 3 and I am so happy. Like, I am on top of the world at this point.
at the beginning of this weekend, I saw the supplies and I was like, marshmallows and spaghetti, odd. And then I was like, are we gonna build a tower at some point? I think we're gonna build a tower. So I'm like researching good ways to build towers at the beginning of this weekend, obviously not expecting to make it. This is a game of luck, please. So I'm researching, and I think I have a good strategy. The only thing that is the issue here is, famously, I have horrible, unsteady hands when it comes down to pressure. And this is something that only I know about myself. This is the first time I'm sharing it with the community. I have terribly unsteady hands in pressure scenarios. So if it's ever like balancing, like the cups where you stack them on top, I'm literally like this the whole time. It's something I'm working on, but you know how to get me. You know when to get me if a challenge comes up.
There is spaghetti, there are marshmallows. By this time, I had figured out this is going to be kind of Tinker Toys on crack. Build the tallest tower you can, sticking spaghetti together with marshmallows. So it's Trey and I, the challenge beast, but I'm going to go in there and fight. Unfortunately, I am Mr. Shaky Hands, and for some reason I keep trying to go for squares instead of triangles. Not an engineer. So in any event, off I go. I'm struggling more than a little bit. I finally get at least one level put together about 6 minutes in, and Doc calls, I think, either a 2-minute or a 1-minute warning. I look over at Trey's tower for the first time in this game, and he's got a frickin' skyscraper going on. So at this stage, even my one little square is a little rickety.
At this point, I'm hoping and praying and rooting for Bill. Because Trey and my game this time around was very similar.
So, whoever can stack this marshmallow spaghetti tower the highest is the winner between me and Bill.
I'm just going to wait it out. I'm going to hope that his spaghetti comes tumbling down. And it did at the last minute. unfortunately not quite enough. Trey wins the fire making challenge, and see you bye.
And against all odds, I am sitting here in the final 3 at the final 7. You know, this is my first time. This is my very first time being in the final 3, or at Final Ascent. Just full stop. I've been playing these games since August, and this is my very first time I've had to plead my case to the people who will vote.
I feel like this time I came out guns blazing. I came out and I made sure my voice was heard, and I made sure that the people I wanted gone were going to be the people that went, if I could, because I knew this time around, like looking at the people that popped up on that screen when we first came in day one, that it was not going to be an easy route to the end. These players were all great players, all of them. And I had a blast getting to know some of them that I had only seen before and not really gotten a chance to speak to. I had a blast playing with them, watching them playing the game. This one was fun.
Part of what makes this hard is I think Denise and I, now that I'm thinking about it, have played more similar game than Katie Denise. So I'm worried we're gonna split the votes, and a stray will end. I don't know. I like to think that I will win, and I have the more, I don't know, impressive game, with technically six individual wins if you count the fire making. With idle plays, but Denise also had an idle play. It didn't receive a vote. I don't know if Denise never received a vote. That's good. Man, it's kind of wild. You know what? I will give us credit. It is wild how dominant the two of us were in this game, like this round. I felt that kind of dominance. Well, I was just sort of winning out last time, but I felt such I felt like I had a controlling hand, a steady hand on this game, and I've never felt that way before. There were times I didn't need. There were times I definitely needed challenge wins, but there were times I didn't, and I couldn't say the same for other games I've played. I'm just happy with how I played overall, and I'm happy with my journey in this community specifically.
With Trey, I feel like obviously he couldn't go out in most of the Crossroads. I think there's only like 2 that he possibly could have. But I made sure he was not brought up. Like his name was never brought up. Like I always went in and I would throw somebody else's name out there before anybody else could throw out Trey's, because I needed Trey to stay in the game. He was important in my game this time around, to get information from the other side, because I didn't work with anybody that he was. So it worked out nicely that way. So I feel like I, in a sense, helped Trey also get to the end, because he was a huge threat, and I did everything I possibly could to make sure that he wasn't brought up or seen that way. We played a lot of it together. I think a lot of our arguments and a lot of the things that we're going to say at the end is going to be pretty much the same. It's going to have to do with, I spoke a lot to Denise. I spoke a lot to Trey. He worked with this side. I worked with that side. We brought our information together to make sure, we got out who we needed to get out at that time. And we worked together as a team, and it worked. It really did work this time around. And he played an amazing game. He won so many individual immunities. he did very well. And I mean, not to say that I think he played a better game than I did, but he played an amazing game, and I know he'd be like huge competition in the end. So I like to believe this game, though, that I played a very strategic game and I played a very good social game. Not once did my name get written down at a Crossroads. I don't even recall my name being thrown out. I mean, I'm sure it was, but it never came back to me. It was just that one time when I heard Ryan say it. Besides, and even then, once I did get word that Ryan Ryan said my name and Katie, I went and I turned that around and I made sure that my name wasn't going down, like, or did what I could anyways to make sure it wasn't, and it didn't. I only won one individual immunity, but in the long haul, as you can see, I never needed to win the immunity challenges, because my name, I feel like I played such a good social game and such a good strategic game that nobody was really coming for me the way that I thought they should have been coming after me, but they didn't. So obviously I did something right. The last 3 people in it, me, Trey, Katie, I honestly truly believe that we're all deserving. And I guess we'll see what happens.
I don't know how the votes are going to shake out. But what I do know is that between the 3 of us that are here, we all deserve it. And I'm just so grateful to be part of what is considered to be the 1-year anniversary of Expedition Online. I think that's really special.
Oh, what a wild Final Four that was. Katie picking up the huge exemption win, left her with a big decision. Jess, she decides to go the loyal route and save Denise. What are your thoughts with that?
You know, I kind of assumed that she was going to go that way. Loyalty has been her big thing this whole game, so I'm not surprised. She didn't really have much of a relationship with Bill or Trey either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and, I mean, Trey being a big threat, he is.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, going into that, there's a little bit of an argument that maybe Bill might have the least of the 3 of an argument going into the final ascent there. What do you think about Katie deciding to go the loyal route as opposed to maybe putting Denise and Trey up against each other?
I don't know. Like, I'm still, with it, I don't envy that position, right?
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, you're safe. You've made it to the finals, right? On the other hand, you now have 10 minutes to figure out who you're sitting next to. Right. And what are their best, odds and their best attributes versus yours, and how do you look compared to them? So, you can spin that wheel in your mind as many times. If I was Katie, I don't know that I could ever really have the best answer possible. You can only just use what you know of that jury, and I am at a loss of words for what I would have done. As far as doing the loyalty thing that she said she was doing, I mean, props to her. I think that, brings up some points for her game. I also think that if you're going to put, all right, even Denise and Bill, Denise and Trey, in a final position, I feel like there's definitely some vote splitting to be happening potentially based on what we know of their game. So that's maybe what she was thinking. I could only speculate, though.
Yeah, and I mean, it's easy from the commentator booth to make a statement like this, but what about putting herself in that competition against one of those guys? Mm-hmm. I mean, she that's the one thing that's kind of lacking on her resume when you compare it against a Denise or a Trey, where she doesn't have that big comp win, therefore that big move. Daniel, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if we're saying objectively what gives her the best chance to win the game, I think it's pretty clear that she should go in, she should go against Trey, she should take him out herself, right? But if you take a step back and look at what we're asking her to do, we're then saying you have to give up a guaranteed spot at the end to try to be arguably the best challenge performer we've seen in this, not only in this season, but in this whole game in general. And so, the math nerd who wants to plug in the stats about what gives her the best chance to win wants to say to do that. I think the human in me probably couldn't actually do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. It's an absolute huge ask. You fight so hard. You fight through 16 other people to get the chance to get to the final 3, to give it up, to go up against, like you said. I will argue he is the best comp beast that we've seen in our game up to this point. Clinks is going to hate me saying that, but he's definitely performed great throughout. So yeah, you can't fault Katie on that, but just kind of open up. There was a bit of an option there, but she decides to save Denise and puts Trey and Bill to the test there. And I mean, early on, Anthony, Trey really showed that he knew what he was doing in this competition, didn't he?
So I was in on I wasn't in on many conversations as the host, but when I could find myself, let me throw myself in there. And as we know, Trey is a very intelligent individual, and he did deduce what we were doing with this. So he apparently took to the internet to see what tips he could get himself. So yeah, he took the practice route, I guess you can say. They were able to manipulate the spaghetti as much as they wanted to. They could break the spaghetti, they could do what have you. It looked like right out of the gate he was doing pretty well. Toward the end, though, there was a point at which that tower flipped, I think we saw, and I don't know about anybody else, but it was like a white knuckle moment, like holding on to armrest. You're like, what's gonna happen? But he pulled it out.
Yeah, I remember thinking the whole comp, it was like, okay, Trey got this, until about there's about 15 seconds left, and he touched something, and it just started to waddle down, and it was like, oh my god, is this how the comp beast is going to go down? But unsurprisingly...
Lucky right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Trey in his video montage that we just watched there, he admits that he gets a little shaky in those pressure-packed situations, and I mean, really, thank God for that lead, because if not, then it would have been very interesting at the end of the game there. But yeah, Trey.
Many though, like it's just been one moment after another. Like for that to have happened would have been crazy.
Absolutely, even in a blowout competition, there's still something happened to make it crazy. And like you said, that's been this entire mini in a nutshell. Up to this point, and now we're left with this final 3. They've all got an argument to win. They've all played very different games, however much they've played together at points. They have arguments, where they didn't play, and they've all kind of stepped out and made their own move. Daniel, what are your thoughts to this point on Trey's game and his arguments going into the final ascent here?
So Trey's got a great argument, and honestly, the thing I'd lead with for him was basically saying, look at how incredibly well I managed my threat level despite winning all of these challenges. Because I think no matter if you know Trey well or you don't know him at all, if you watch this season, you've got to say, this guy's the biggest threat by far. And not only is he at the end, but until, trying to put him into the Final Four challenge, nobody really goes after him that hard. I kept waiting for people to go after Trey, and I kept being amazed that nobody did it. So I think the best thing he did, aside from winning challenges, which he always does, was just somehow keeping the target off of his back.
Yeah, and Jess, I think a lot of that had to do with his relationship from a past mini that he had with Denise, and was able to kind of bring back together at kind of a perfect time when they both had a decent group in this game, and they were able to whittle off each other's sides there. What do you think about Denise and her chances going into this?
Yeah, Denise has a great shot at this too. Denise is a seasoned player, and she always makes it to the end. And hopefully this is her at the W. She always plays a fantastic social game. She's a huge threat, but she always keeps it off of her. She sets herself up, has her hand in all different pots, so people don't want to vote her off. She's been the key player in so many votes.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's got a great resume.
Yeah, especially down the stretch here. She was definitely found herself in the power position in a couple of these key votes. And then Anthony, and then we have Katie, who played a very, very strong game in the early half. Her and Denise pretty much side by side, but I thought Katie was really kind of steering the boat for a lot of the game until the later half where Denise kind of breaks away. What are Katie's arguments? What does Katie need to do in this final ascent to get these votes back on her side?
So I think that one of the really beautiful things of this final three is that you have this social player in Denise, you have this challenge player in Trey, and I really do think you have a strategic player in Katie. Do I think that she has her work cut out for her? A little bit. But I do think that if she plays her cards right and if she makes the right argument, I definitely think that the jury will hear her story. I definitely think that she has points to deliver as far as challenge, as far as being, going back to initial parties and being a team player there. I think that she has a story and a trajectory about how she voted and when she voted and who she rubbed elbows with throughout, particularly post the rendezvous. So I definitely think that she has points. We'll see if it's enough to take on Denise or Trey.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a great final three. It's been a great many all throughout. Now, we did have tech issues with most of this day, but fortunately, we picked it up halfway through the final ascent. So, we've got a couple questions from the players. We've got their final speeches for you, and we've got the votes. So, let's turn things over to the final ascent. Pick it up as soon as we can. Sweet.
Was like really looking at me, and then suddenly everyone flipped and was like, we got to get Katie out, and I managed to survive and get to this point and win exemption right when I needed to, because I don't think I would be here if I won. I know I took Denise and she said she would take me. I don't know if that was true.
Denise, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll try and make it quick. In the beginning, I would say that it was a little bit, I felt like it was a little bit higher. Looking at who was on the party, yes, I did know a lot of the people and I knew a lot of your guys' faces and your names, and I've spoken to a lot of you guys. But at the same time, too, I also knew that a lot of you guys had stronger bonds than I did with you guys. So I thought my level was going to be a little bit higher until I realized after talking to everybody that we hadn't gotten to play together and we've all wanted to play together. So it was actually the opposite. So I actually realized that maybe it was more of like a 4 or 5. Only because you really never know where you stand in Expedition and what's going to happen. But when I started to make all these special bonds and like all these social, like I played a really good social game, I feel like. So once I made these alliances and I kept them, I felt like it was a little bit of an easier path for me at the end. Until I did write your name down. I did not think Katie was going to take me to the end. Thankfully, she did. I'm very thankful for that. And Katie, yes, with the 4 of them, I definitely would have taken you, if that means anything.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And last but not least, we have Bill. Bill, come on in.
Long time no see, guys. I want to make this quick. First, I adore all of you. I'm also and Denise and Katie, I really want to talk to you guys because I spent least in-game time with you. And for me, we always know it's just a game. And so it's about the game. And so it's not about whether or not or how much you knew each other before. I know all three of you to very degree. So Trey, I'll get you out of the way first. First, you are my bromance. I'm like, we can be #Trill, #Bray. But you and Denise saved me. You told me not to use the idol when, thank you, Garrett. Garrett gave me the other half to get me an idol. You told me not to use it. That's the idol that I used in that cluster, whatever, at the end. Where did that information start from? Which one of you knew or was the one who came to the primary conclusion that I didn't need to use it?
I think that was probably shared information, because I was getting information from Ryan and Keith that you weren't the name that round, and I was getting the same information from Denise. So I had multiple sources coming to me with the same information. One I trusted a little bit more, and two more that I didn't trust quite as much, but I could tell if like something was up.
Okay.
So the information came from multiple sources from me.
Okay. Well, thank you both of you for that. Denise, and I'm sorry, I'm scrambling on questions because I just got here. You told me you thought you were on the boat on the bottom, on both sides. What sort of empirical evidence is there of that? Because I never felt that. I don't know that other people felt that, and you never got a vote. So I'm just wondering, I understand everyone, God knows I get into my head, but why did you think, give me a facts as to why you thought you were on the bottom?
So at the end there, it wasn't that I thought I was at the end the whole time, or at the bottom the whole time. So if that's the way I made it sound, then I take that part back. It was more at the end of like where we were at like 7-6. After Keith pretty much went is when I realized that you actually and Trey had both told me on multiple occasions that you guys were working together. And between me and Trey had come in and pretty much begged me to keep you in at some points, right? So I knew for a fact that the two of you were working together. So right there, that was an easy one. Working with Keith, Katie, and Ryan, I knew that Ryan and Katie were closer than myself or Katie or myself and Ryan, or that's how I felt anyways. It seemed that they were always talking together first and that kind of stuff. So not that I felt that I was that much further down, but I did still feel like I would have been third to that group. So I didn't have as much evidence on that side. But that is where I felt I lied, because of just like little things like that they would go and talk to each other first, or information was always coming from the two of them instead of just the one, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfect. I appreciate that. Katie, you and I spent the least amount of time together because we were never on the same tribe and we could never get into a room. And I was a little sad of you being, by the way, you said you thought your stress level was an 8 throughout. I got voted off first, dude. Mine was at least a 9.5. Anyway, Katie, give me your pitch, because we've spent the least amount of time together in game. Why should I vote for you over Trey and over Denise specifically?
Specifically, I would say because I never had to play the middle. I got here by staying true to the people I wanted to stay true to. I didn't try to get and give information outside. Like that's not a game I personally usually like to play. So, and yes, I had allies and people that wanted to work with me and wanted to save me. Ryan played his compass on me to make sure I didn't go that round. So I'm so bad at speaking.
You're great.
But yeah, like I got here without having information from essentially both sides. So I guess that would be my pitch. Trey and Denise both were feeding information to each other to get them to this point, where I didn't do that. So I would say that's where it differs.
Yeah, and I play that way as well. So love you all. Good luck. No matter what happens, you're all awesome.
Thank you, Bill. Jury, thank you very much. Our next portion of this final ascent are your closing arguments. You have 3 minutes. Our order is Denise, Trey, and then Katie. Denise, with 3 minutes on the clock, the floor is yours.
Okay. I had an amazing weekend. This was so much fun. Playing with everybody was just it was great. For my game, I honestly do believe that I came into this with a little bit of a different route. I believe that I still managed to stay true to the people that I told I would stay true to. Yes, I did kind of go off and get information from certain ways, and I used that information to make sure that I got myself through the game and to get myself to the end. This time around, I knew that just using my social game, it wasn't going to work that way. So I had to make sure that I got information from multiple places. I ended up winning competitions for our party. I won an individual comp for myself. And I also won immunity in the scavenger hunt right off the hop, which I honestly truly believed I needed to win because I was worried about being a huge target in the beginning, which I'm sure a lot of people were. Sorry, I have notes and I'm terrible at this. At the end, I was able to take, at the end of the game, when there was only like the 5 of us, I was able to take the votes off myself. And that was because of the loyalty that I proved to the people that I was working with. I saved Bill, so Bill wasn't putting my name up, neither was Trey. And on the other side, I was using my loyalty with them that I had been working with them to get them to switch the vote from myself and put it on Bill. And that is what ended up getting, put on Bill, I believe it was. So using my social game and having people trust me at the end definitely worked in my favor because I honestly truly believe that if I didn't have that, I would have been the vote to get out, or it would have been a split vote and I would have been the one who ended up going home. I do believe that I played a good game and I had a great weekend, and yeah, that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Denise. Trey, you are up. With 3 minutes, the floor is yours. Go.
Thank you. Those were fantastic questions, everybody. I'm so happy to have played this weekend. It's been lovely. To summarize, I did lovely at individual comps, winning 5 competitions for myself and doing really well in tribe challenges for my party challenges for my party. I never received a vote. I was always hustling despite those ideas of safety that were happening. I was always making sure that names were off Denise, names were off Bill, to make sure that I was getting to this place where I am right now. Past that, I've been playing this game since Expedition, specifically since November, I think. And the first time I played, I got 17th. Second time I played, I got 12th. Third time I played, I got 6th. The fourth time I played, I got 3rd. I've never made it here. And I'm so incredibly grateful that every time I've done this, I've improved in some sort of way. And I'm just, regardless of the outcome of tonight, I'm proud of myself. I'm on the verge of tears. I'm so happy to have played with all of you. I'm so happy to be a part of this community. It's been lovely. Bless Andy for 1 year. And thank you.
Thank you, Trey. Katie, with 3 minutes, the floor is yours.
I also had the most fun that I've had in a game in a really long time. I did not make it a secret that I was not looking for, I was terrified of playing a mini because the one time I played, I did not enjoy it. But I gave it a chance and I'm so glad I did. I had so much fun with everyone. And as far as my game goes, I do feel like I played a good game. I played a game that is not a game I normally play. I was also more vocal than I would normally be. I was willing to put names out there. Yes, I got votes and they didn't, but I got votes and survived. So that to me and I played a very loyal game. I always will play a loyal game. Some people value it, some people don't. I respect your decision no matter how you decide to vote tonight. I think all of us are deserving. I played the best game that I was given with the tools I had at my service. The only thing that I feel was lacking in my game, which is unusual for me, is because of the timing, is my social game. I didn't have the time to talk to everyone because none of us did. So I didn't build as many like new bonds as I would normally do in any game. And so, yes, I did tend to work with people I had a little bit of a relationship with, but I do feel like I built a really good bond with Denise and with Keith, who I didn't really know super well before this game, even though I ended up working very closely with them and got called out for it. So I totally respect your decision. Vote how you feel. I don't expect you to vote based on allegiance. Vote on who you think played the best game. And love y'all. That's it.
Thank you so much, finalists. Jury, it's down to you. You've seen their playing. You've seen this final ascent. You've heard their arguments. You've heard their answers. What I'd like you to do is please write down the name of the explorer that you are voting to win. You are voting for someone. Please send that to me in a private message.
Anthony, may I take a bathroom break? I'm going to take that as a yes. I'll be back.
Go for it.
Get a cocktail, Denise.
I'm going to do that too.
I'm just going to wait for the go ahead from Jonathan. Okay. I will read the votes. The first vote is for Trey. The second vote is for Denise. The third vote is for Katie. We are tied at 1 vote apiece. The fourth vote is for Trey. The fifth vote is for Denise. That's 2 votes Denise, 2 votes Trey, 1 vote Katie. The sixth vote is for Trey. The seventh vote is for Denise. We have a tie. So here's what's happening. Trey, Denise, whoever's birthday is first will have 2 minutes to appeal to Katie. Katie, you're going to send me your vote. And then, folks, we're going to read this vote live after this has been aired. So we have to wait a few weeks. So, Trey, when is your birthday?
My birthday is December 27th.
December 27th. When is your birthday?
My birthday's January the 8th.
Trey, because your birthday is next, I will give you 2 minutes to appeal to Katie. The floor is yours. Go.
Katie, I understand this is as tough of a pitch as it was to get you to not pick me for fire making. I do think Denise and I played very similar games here. Obviously, you have a more loyal connection to Denise. And there's nothing I can do to stop that. But I would like to say that I do think I played a better overall game than Denise. I think I did more individual wins. I gave Denise an idol. We shared information throughout. So there's really not a lot to pitch here. Like, it's very similar. The more I'm talking. So I think I'll leave it at that. I do think I played a better overall game, and I hope that aside from loyalty, you can respect that.
All set? Thank you, Trey. Denise, 2 minutes. The floor is yours.
Okay. So I'm gonna try not to repeat myself, but I do believe that I played obviously a very similar game to Trey, but at the same time I do feel like the game I played was also my own game, and I was able to stay loyal to the people, like I said, that I needed to stay loyal to. But at the same time, yes, I did have to branch out and kind of be loyal to two separate groups. Yes, of course, it was Trey on one side and you guys on the other side. A lot of the information I was giving Trey, I ended up saving his side a lot, whereas I don't believe that it was the other way around. It was more so that I was helping his group to stay in. And I honestly do believe that if I didn't do that, that Trey would have gone sooner. I stayed true to us, and I don't want you to write my name down because we were loyal and that we did play a game together. I do want you to write down who did play the best game. I do believe that I did play the best game because of bringing Trey to the end, and I believe that if it wasn't for me, that he wouldn't have made it this far. But I truly believe that we all played an amazing game. So congratulations to all of us.
Thank you, Denise. Katie, it's time. Send me the name of the winner of this game. If you want to mute yourself, I understand. What a weekend, guys. This was amazing. Yes. And nobody can say word jury. This is you too. Because this is not yet. It's not been streamed. So no spoilers to anyone. Jury, that means you too.
Oh my God.
I take bribes.
No bribes.
Have we ever had a tie at Final Ascent?
I don't know.
Another true testament to how great this mini was.
Ditto. I mean, I think this was a game of a bunch of firsts.
Guys,
Great job.
That's it. I can't be on a what do they call them? A water jet, by the Statue of Liberty. I can't do any of that. I can't hop out of a New York City subway thing. But that's it. What a weekend! You all should be proud of your games. You all should be proud of yourselves. You all, I know, there was a point about 48 hours ago that I did not know that this game was going to happen. And the fact that it did, and we saw the gameplay that we did, and it feels like, for the most part, everybody, all right, some exceptions, Walking Out Friends is a big, big testament to the style of your gameplay, is the style of everything. So now, timeout. I thought we were gonna hold on to. Oh yeah, we're gonna wait. We're waiting until it's aired. Okay, I have it.
Do we have to?
We have to.
You can just tell us now.
I want to.
Jonathan, I'm gonna take it to you. I don't know what you want to do. If you have commentary, whatever it is that you want to do, you go ahead.
3, 2. So there you have it. What an explosive final ascent! First time in our game's history, we have a tie. Are you guys surprised? Like, going in, we thought Trey was far and beyond, but I think as that final ascent went on, it was clear that it was a Trey versus Denise battle.
Yeah, I thought Trey was going to run away with it. I don't think I even had the possibility of a tie in my head.
Yeah, and credit where it's due, I think Denise had an absolutely fantastic final ascent, so I don't know whether it's one of those, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah, Denise has a history of coming in second place in these types of games. 2 of our games, won another game, and the final ascent, the final Crossroads part of the game has been her weakest thing, and she blew it out of the water, like you said. She came out swinging. She had a lot of great points, and this isn't anything to take away from Trey's game, because I think Trey also did well, but a lot of things came to light in the final ascent. Denise made a lot of moves that were a little bit hidden, and I think they came out at the perfect time. Jess, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think in Trey's speech, too, he did give a little too much credit to her at some points. And I think it would have been beneficial if he left that out. But I think she also learned from her second place finishes, and she knew what she had to do to drive her point home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead, Danny.
I think it comes down to Trey almost being too nice of a person. I think you have to be willing to fudge things a little bit at final ascent if the truth gives your competitor credit. There's a point where you're almost better off just giving some weird, vague answer that where people are like, what's he talking about? What's he talking about? Rather than saying, like, hey, look at this great move that this other person made.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because sportsmanship in this type of social strategic game is super important. Like, if you're not a good sport, people will vote you out just because of that, even if it's not good for their game, just because sportsmanship just rubs people the wrong way. Except her in the final ascent. That's where you need to throw the sportsmanship out the window and talk about why you did better than the other 2 players. And I think Denise did a great job of doing that. Trey had a really strong game throughout. I don't want to be in Katie's spot right now. She's got to hold on to this information for a little bit of time. Jess, what do you think's running through Katie's mind being in this spot? She just lost, which got to suck. She got a vote, so she was in it. But now she's got to pick between these 2.
It's definitely a tough position to be in, to be just told, hey, you just lost, but you have picked the winner now.
Right.
I'm guessing Katie's theme has been loyalty this whole time, so I'm feeling like her vote is going to go toward Denise.
But I mean, Katie is also a competitor. She's known as the duel queen in our community. She is someone who's done really well in the competitions. Trey, in his 2-minute pitch there, Daniel, he really kind of pushed, hey, I have the resume points. In a tie game, we go to resume. And I thought it was a good pitch by him.
It was, and I want to go back to something Katie said in her closing speech, where she said, regardless of all of this, I want you guys to vote for who played the best game. And so, you can make an argument that either Trey did or Denise did, but that sounded to me like she was going to vote for whichever one she thought was going to play the best game. So, I think Eileen, agreeing with Jess that she's probably going to go to Denise, because if anything, Denise's moves were more visible to Katie because she was a part of them, but I don't think she's just going to default to it because they were working together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it turns out this Part 4 series is going to have a Part 5. Let's take it over to the live portion. Part 5 of Expedition Online miniseries, Piedra del Sol. Take it away, Anthony.
Welcome back to Expedition Piedra del Sol. It is time for the live vote reading and crowning of our winner. How are we doing, everybody? Good to see all your faces. How's everything going? How has it been? Let me go to Denise and Trey first. First, you both look excellent. Everybody's looking, ready to go, Take me through, I guess, your experience in the game. I'm just going to say that, this has been the most historic, I think, among our little community minis. This, I don't think, has ever happened. So whatever happens between the two of you tonight, you are part of history, as far as we are concerned. So what is, thinking back to the game, Denise, thinking back to basically everything, take us through your experience. Is there anything you would have done differently? Is there anything that makes you think yes, I have it, no, I don't, all of that? Tell us how you're feeling tonight.
Once you get out of this and you get to actually sit and think about what you just did for the last couple days, I went through everything step by step and wondered to myself, did I do enough? Didn't I do enough? Did I explain myself good enough at the end? Because usually I do not. So it was kind of like, did I explain what I did? Did the jury get to actually see and hear what I did? I have been talking about this for the last 2 weeks. I think my family is going crazy listening to me talk about it. So it's time to figure it out and finally know whether or not me or Trey won. So I'm just excited. It's tonight.
Yes. Trey, what about you? Take us through your last. It's really been a month, almost. Tomorrow's exactly a month that we started. That was the first day of our game. So, take us through your kind of processing everything and what you think about the whole thing and where you've been.
Yeah, well, I'm not in New Jersey anymore, which I'm in Utah right now, reporting live from Cedar City.
Right.
I've been thinking about this a lot. I drove out here from New Jersey to Utah, and I was thinking about the events of this game for a while. I keep going back, and I keep trying to find where I could have done better, but I really do feel like I did everything I could, and there was nothing that there was nothing I did where I was like, oh man, I wish I didn't do that or something or other. So I feel really, really confident in my game. And if I don't win, I feel very confident in my game. I feel very proud to have played the way I did play.
So I was going to say that about both of you. You should feel like both of your games, even watching, were excellent. I know my point of view after the first day, I think there are a lot of talk. Carl, you were here. A lot of talk was about you and the moves you had made that day. A lot of talk, a lot of focus, I think, was on Ryan because he had quite a bit in the way of half compasses, etc. And I said, I definitely said, I was like, Denise and Trey, I think they're the underdogs. I think Jonathan had said, we didn't even talk about them the first day. And I was like, that was crazy. So yeah, the fact that you both came there, and for me, Katie, everybody who's here can attest to this. Watching the game, it felt like you were having fun. I don't know. For me, and I know that might make for boring TV. Sorry, everybody who's watching, but Katie, let's go to you for a minute. How are you doing tonight? Are you nervous still? Is that a thing?
What do I need to be nervous about?
I don't know.
I know what's going to happen.
No, I mean,
he's the only one that knows.
At Crossroads, I was like, Katie, how are you? Nervous.
That's facts. That's a good point. Yeah, but I don't have any reason to be nervous tonight. I know.
Yeah.
I know who won.
And what was tell us before we reveal, what was your thought process as you were casting that one deciding vote?
It was actually a really hard decision because after hearing their final, they did kind of play a very similar game, and I just went with who I thought needed to play the way that they did.
Yeah, and that was an interesting thing too, because it wasn't just the final. It was, we revealed the votes, we knew it was a tie, and there was another opportunity for them to present their cases. So any predictions before we reveal this vote? And I will, qualify this with.
I just want to throw this out there. No matter what one of you guys wins, in my eyes, you're both all three of you that made the end. But because of the tie, in my eyes, I don't care who who the name it is, you both are winners in my book. I think this is the only season I've ever played in that I'm going to say and go out on a limb for the first time and say, listen, there's two winners of this season. We have a king and we have a queen. And I mean, may the best person win. And I love you both. And I love all of y'all. So, let's get to the vote.
Ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, just to recap, upon our final crossroads, our final ascent, there was a 3-3-1 tie. Katie, being the person who received the one vote in the final ascent, was the deciding vote. She did cast her vote to me. It has not been announced, and here it is. So the winner, a month later, of Expedition Piedra del Sol. It's
good job.
It's Trey. Yeah.
Hey Trey. Hey Trey, you need to go get what you got and put it on.
Yeah, that was
nice job, Trey.
Where? Oh, is it New Jersey? Oh, there it is. Yeah. What I mean, look. Congratulations, Trey. Congratulations. Yeah, what a game to watch. Just to see everything go as it did. Just the drama of the first day to everything that happened the second day. We have Gabby here. Gabby, you played in it. Feel free to come on up at this point. Trey, do you have anything to say on your win? Congratulations.
This is gonna sound insane. When I said yes to playing this, I reckoned with my story throughout these games, and I knew where I stood in the first season of Expedition Online. I came 17th, came in 12th in the next mini, came in 6th in the next mini, and came in 3rd about a month before we played this. And coming into this, I can say with absolute confidence, I knew I was going to get to this spot. And I've never been not only so confident in this game in my life, but I've never been so confident like that in my life.
That was, I'm very, very happy for you. This is, I will say, I saw the vote and I literally was like, I'm not going to lie, I was not expecting it. Denise, you played an awesome, awesome, awesome game. Everything to be proud of. Congratulations on that. It was like watching it back and forth and back and forth. It was like you really could make a point for each of you to win with that. So mega congratulations on that. Yeah. Katie, thank you for being in that position. I can't imagine that was easy for you. And yeah, that was must have been a really, really tough thing. Look, I'm going to say that we can sit here and and chat. I don't want to keep the stream going. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we head on out? If not, all I'd say is excellent, excellent game, excellent. I don't want to say season, but mini, because it's a mini. Yeah. Anything? Anyone? No? All right, let's all wait to the cameras. Bye, everyone. See you soon.
And there you have it. Trey is the ultimate explorer for Piedra del Sol. Wow, what a final ascent. Took almost a month to complete to get that final vote into Anthony. Anthony, what were the final votes from our 7 jury members? How did we get this tie?
So we had a 3-3-1 tie. Ryan was the sole vote for Katie. The jurors who voted for Denise were Carl, Keith, and Garrett. And then for Trey, we had Will, Jay, and Bill. So the 3, them voted for Trey. The other 3 to Denise. That's how we get the tie. Katie then has to vote. Do you want me to explain what happened? What I think happened?
Yeah, started off, I want to hear what everyone thinks happened. Because Katie, decides to bring Denise to the Final 4. But once it comes down to the vote for the win, much different story.
Here's where I think Denise's Achilles heel was. I think that Trey had gone first. I think that they're both charismatic. Trey was doing his Mr. Charisma thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that Denise says something at the end that, once again, I think for a lot of people like, oh, should you have said that? And that was, I don't want you to vote loyalty. I want you to vote who played the best. So when you listen to Trey and then you listen to Denise, both of whom make their case, that's what Katie's leaving with. That's the last taste in Katie's mouth. I think that was Denise's way of giving Katie permission to maybe not feel so bad if she felt one way or the other. I will be honest, when I read the vote, and I was the only one to know the vote besides Katie, I was just like, what? Like,
Right.
I mean, what I wanted to do was, oh my God. But, sitting over here, you got to hold the cards close to the chest, and then that was that. It was a crazy, crazy moment in my brain. I wish you could have seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for all of us, I mean, we're all a little bit surprised. Not that Trey doesn't deserve it, but I mean, Denise really came to play in this final ascent. I feel like she was hitting all the points right on the head. She was rebuttaling the other points that Trey was throwing out as well. What were your thoughts?
I thought she had an absolutely fantastic final ascent. Going into it, I felt like Trey was the favorite. And then I left Final Ascent thinking like, oh my God, I think Denise just won the game with that. And so turns out she falls just a tiny bit short, very possibly due to that line Anthony was talking about. But I don't want that to take away from what was a really fantastic Final Ascent on her part.
Yeah, I mean, she does kind of... Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
I was just going to add something. Carl is very generous to our winners here. He was on our jury, but anytime there's a winner in Expedition, he sends a crown to the winner. It's a nice little, tribute to them. It's fun to get that in the mail. And the nice guy that he is, he sent a crown to both of them, both to Trey and to Denise, which I thought was a nice thing to do, and also a testament to Denise and her game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well deserved. How often do you come across a tie? It's happened in one time in the 40 seasons that they've done Survivor. It's never happened in our game before to have two games that are that close and come down to the third place person making that vote. Jess, what do you think about the spot that Katie was put in there and ultimately her decision?
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure to have the winner riding on your one vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, and I'm sure Katie was torn because Denise was her ride or die, her friend that she was loyal to the whole game, and that was her whole pitch. But like Anthony said, that one last line Denise said,
she took her off the hook.
I took her off the hook.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially between those two players, that is such a hard decision. Mm-hmm. They both played so fantastic, but in different ways. So it's a hard one to weigh out.
Absolutely. I mean, good on Carl for sending them both the crown, because I do truly believe that they both deserve it. This was, I mean, either one of them, you take their exact game, you put them in another game, and they're probably winning. Either one of them. So to have one of them lose was probably the only shame in this entire mini, because this really was a phenomenal game front to back. We had some of the craziest plays I think we've ever seen in any of our minis. The Crossroads were absolutely fantastic. Back and forth, lots of information coming out. Anthony, a guest host, I thought you did a phenomenal job. You also organized a lot of it. Thank you so much. I mean, the community itself has a lot to do with Anthony in our first game way back when deciding to do a Ponderosa, and really kind of kept a lot of people from that community together, and it just built and built and built. A year in, and we're still pumping out games with players with, just such high caliber play. This was a true treat to watch. What a tongue twister I put myself into there. Absolutely phenomenal. Any last thoughts before we close this mini down?
You guys are awesome as well. Thank you. Thank you for putting this whole thing together. It's just always fun to be around here. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So for our guest host Anthony Brandolfino, my fellow commentators Daniel Fletchner and Jessica Martin, I was Jonathan Dykes. This was Piedra del Sol. We will see you guys next time. Peace.
And I'm happy to have played. And regardless, I don't know. This is special. This is special. Thank you.